Hi, Sarah. It's a great pleasure to have you in our community.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm happy to be here. My background is in graphic design, and I did art in high school all 4 years, which is when I first started to experience trauma. And I didn't often eat lunch in the lunchroom. I would go into the art room instead. So it became like my safe haven. Um, and I would express myself there. And so then I went to art therapy school and I ended up dropping out. So I didn't actually become an official art therapist. I'm kind of like a rogue
Mhm.
artist with some training, but that information and those experiences from that era of my life were so valuable and really turned me in this direction. It gave me enough education about the unconscious mind and art making with enough I did enough internship work with people and observed other people doing it, even just with crayons, that I was like, oh wow, this is like incredible. So in my 20s, I worked in the corporate world and restaurants some. And after I had my first baby when I was 30, after that is when I really was like, I have a lot of stuff I have to untangle. And I think that happens to a lot of new moms, to be honest. I think they have a baby and then they really kind of like burst forth with more creativity because they just like need it for their mental health. And it comes out in all different ways. It comes out in making businesses or craft, whatever it is. So that was my thing. I was like,
Definitely,
well,
it's a very creative experience for all moms.
yes, yes.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm going to go back to painting. It's what I know. I don't know where it will go, but I know that I need to do it for my soul and to express myself and just explore and let it evolve. And uh, over time, I realized how addictive the creative process. I didn't necessarily see it as addictive
Mhm.
until I started to do it a lot and feel the healing effects. When I only did it intermittently, I didn't notice it as much. But I became a mom and I was home a lot, and so like at nap time, I was always painting on the floor, and I was like, "Wow, this is like some real magic here." So I just kept going and going and going, and here I am.
Here you are. So, can you explain a little bit more about your style? So, with all your creativity, you developed your style as well. So, what inspire you, and what kind of techniques you prefer to use?
Sure. So actually, it's interesting. I feel like these three paintings are really good examples for that question, and it's so nice that they're just behind my head. So this piece is called "Be the Shift You Wish to See," and this one I actually worked on for about 6 years, on and off. It was very on and off. It was like that painting I would just work on like a few times a year. And it lived as three different versions, both abstract. It had a different goddess on it at one point. Um, and she was golden and she was facing the other way, like her back was turned. And so my process is really uh, that I kept giving up on this canvas and I kept hating it. Nothing came out right. I'd make something and I was like, I don't want this on my wall. Like, if I don't want it on my wall, then why would I want to sell it? You know what I mean? Um, and so that would push me to kind of set it aside and then keep going when I felt like it again later. And I just did it long enough. And again, I didn't know in 2017, 18, 19, 2020 that one day I was going to like actually like this canvas. If I'd known at that point, it would have taken me so long. I might have quote unquote like given up, but I've just done it long enough that I know that if I have like an urge for a certain painting, because I have a lot that I work on very slowly, like I have several, and I just, whenever I feel like it,
Mhm.
and then over time, it just becomes this whole like layer story and history. And it as the artist, like the experience and the growth and how the painting evolved. And that's what I love. And this one also has just so much texture in it. And I'll even put the oil paint on and then take the end of the brush, like the end of it, not the correct end.
Mhm.
And carve into the paint, which is something I have always done, I think, like since probably college. But I love that. I love just doing different things with the materials. So,
And the one at the top of your head?
oh, this one, okay, this one was like a fluid painting that I did. So this was done with high flow acrylics, which high flow acrylics have the consistency of soy sauce, and like regular acrylics have more of like the consistency of toothpaste or something. So I do still want to do more of this, but this was just a lot of like paint pouring and using gold paint. I love to use gold paint and pour, and then also use like iridescent medium and kind of just like make almost like a soup sometimes, and then pull out from there and let the iridescence merge with different colors. And so that's what's so fun for me when I do backgrounds like this. This one does not have a background. So this one was like a different when I do the figures and also the figures that have no background, that's like a different part of my brain because I'm not like playing first and kind of just like making, having fun. I'm trying to like, have an idea and just get it down isolated. So yeah.
And obviously, you realize that when you are creating art, painting, that it helps you a lot, and then actually you become even addictive to it, and to boost your creativity. But however, you also now impact other people's lives too with your art. So can you share a little bit more about that experience? What you have when other people enjoy your art? What kind of feeling and feedback they give it?
Oh, yeah, that's an amazing question. Thank you so much for asking. Um, I I have received so many beautiful messages from all over the world for so many years now because I've been online for I think 7 years, and my pictures always got reposted to artwork in studio, or like there's different pages you can follow that repost like artists with their work in their studio, and so mine got reposted so much that I just gained this like big international following, like more so than just like, okay, I'm in Ohio, it's like I got out there, and so I've received messages from all over, from all different kinds of people from all walks of life, and usually they're usually artists, I would say. Occasionally there's people that don't consider themselves artists, even though I consider everyone ultimately an artist. And so but they're they're beautiful. Sometimes they're about my healing journey or my writing or my video, but then sometimes it's just about how they felt inspired to paint again or to paint about their feelings. And that's so rewarding. One of the most rewarding messages I've
Mhm.
gotten was a woman who had left her partner and was afraid, and he was stalking her, and she said she just took I had a calendar that year, and she just took all of the pages of the calendar, like all the portraits of the artwork, and then just posted them all around her apartment on the walls when she was trying to like transition out. And so that always stuck with me. We became good friends.
Amazing.
So yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We all face some challenges. So what kind of challenges you are facing as an artist on your daily basis?
So definitely, I there's a lot to be said for stamina and for longevity and creative burnout and creativity burnout, and I have been juggling that with motherhood, which is like a whole other thing. And it comes down to, for me, that I have to schedule time and know that if I'm having a block, which for me happens quite often,
Mhm.
and I'm just aware of it and I'm cognizant of it, and I feel like that's also one of my um, callings, is to just help people with creativity in general, because you kind of need someone to push you sometimes, I think, because we just get to a certain age and people often just stop because it is work. It's like working out, and yeah, there's lots
Yes.
of like
Mhm.
good endorphins and stuff that happen like when you're flowing and you're like, yay, I made something. But then there's a lot of like bad, like not bad, there's a lot of like sticky emotions that come with the creative process, maintaining a studio space over time, maintaining the supplies. Because my theory is that we express so much when we're in the flow state and we're creating that just kind of wonky emotions come out with the art. It's supposed to, I think. But I think after a big creative burst, sometimes you can feel just like I call them shame layers, where like we've expressed ourselves, we've exposed ourselves, and then there's kind of like this vulnerability that happens with that. And sometimes I think people can get like locked up multiple times in their life and sometimes just walk away, from practicing.
Totally, but in your case, I can see you find more a deeper connection with your art, and it's not only about express your trauma, but also you find yourself like you can help others, like with the therapy. So, can you share a little bit more about that journey, how that started, and how do you now see that you can positively impact the people?
Yeah. So one of the things that I do, I make goals of things that I want to work on.
Hmm.
From when I got to a certain point that I was like, okay, this works. If you take an age or an era, a role you had to play in your life, a job you worked 1 year, whatever it is. And even if it doesn't feel like, well, nothing really happened, it wasn't that bad, all that stuff.
Hmm.
But my thing is, I think we live in a culture where there's not um, like there's not ritual and reverence for so many things that happen to us in life the way there used to be for many generations. We kind of just go about life and like all this crazy stuff happens and we just keep going. It's almost like it feels like there's not like always a pause and a reverence for those like eras and ages and roles we've played. So even if there isn't like a big trauma, this little t trauma from just life,
Hmm.
experience, and it's always worth looking at if there's a certain area you want to work on. And so when you have the idea of the part of you that you're like, all right, I want to open this up and I want to look at it, you can just write down your feelings about the event, or you can draw them with your non-dominant hand, stick figure style, on a canvas and really just get it out, or on a piece of paper, whatever, just get it outside of you to address like, okay, we're focusing here, we're looking at this, and then make art out of it in some way, painting over it with acrylic or whatever needs to happen. And so basically after that, what I do is I keep building on that layer until it finally, it starts out ugly often. I do make some artwork where I start out with like really positive words, but there's definitely been several that start out with just like, okay, this is what I'm going to deal with. And it can take a long time, like I said, for me to get to a certain layer where I'm like, okay, this is good. But that's the premise. And I think anyone can do that with almost any, whatever their craft is, I think you can kind of like work on it until you need out all the knots,
And how do
essentially.
you personally think the technology impact the life of artists? On the one hand, we can talk now, even you are based in Ohio, I'm based in Tokyo, so it's very
Mm.
good to connect people. But on the other hand, people are maybe spending too much time virtually, and maybe they are losing that connection.
Connect to themselves.
Yes, yeah.
Oh, yeah. So art, is very much like an inner world, can be a very like inner world process. And so that can be tricky to build that muscle if you feel like the muscle of going inward is has been weakened from screen use or just lack of connection or community or like whatever, and you start to try to go inward. It can feel difficult at first, but it's like exercising a muscle and practicing and being like, I think you have to be dedicated enough to go through some of the like frustration and difficult emotions if you're not totally prepared to go inward and be still, or sit for 10 minutes and like focus on your craft or your drawing or whatever, or your painting. I use candlelight and I use ambiance. I use my senses to help myself go further inward. So a candle or like incense, something for smell, And then, having nice lighting and having music, non-lyrical music, so piano, classical is great, any kind of like healing frequency music. So that's going to be sound. And so when you're engaging your senses, it can help make you more present, and then of course touch is like using the materials, and it can help your focus go more inward.
Totally, you are in. And I saw you have a nice online presence, so people can follow you on different channels. So can you share what's the best way to get in touch with you?
Yes. So I post most often to Instagram. I am on other platforms, but I feel like my story, I have done the tile grids the best on Instagram. It's hard to do different platforms, and you just kind of have your one where you're like, okay, whatever, my people are here.
We will share the links downstairs. You have Instagram, Pinterest, and also YouTube channel and website. So for all of you guys who want to know more about Sarah, please feel free to reach out to her and follow her on different platforms. And my last question is, what kind of plans do you have for rest of this year? So now we are in the beginning of the summer. So how do you see upcoming months in terms of your plans and artwork?
So I'm working on some abstract pieces right now, which feels really, really good and expressive. I do think abstract work and just kind of throwing paint really takes you into this different place. So there's that. And then I'm hoping to host or be part of a group of women hosting a retreat this year, like a healing art retreat, but we don't have all the details
Yeah.
figured out.
Tarek, thank you so much. It was a great pleasure to have you, to learn more about what inspires you, about your artwork. And as you said, it's a never-ending creative process. I hope you will enjoy even more in your creativity work, and also impact other people to start to do some art or to join you and learn from you how they can do it. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Ed. I appreciate you having me, and I just thought it was a lovely conversation. Thank you.
And for all of you who enjoy, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us, and share this video with people who you think might be interesting and who will be inspired with Sarah's story. Thank you so much.
Thank you.